Hi, everybody. Pen here with Yogacises Wendy and Walker, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for being on today. Love the
Mm.
background too.
Oh,
I
thank
was
you.
telling her how like her hair color. She's a certified soul healer, uh,
Licensed soul
a
therapist.
licensed soul therapist, soul therapist. All right, that's awesome. I'm excited to get into that in more detail. So can you just share with us where you're from and how long you've been doing this and why you got started in this field?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I've been doing this work for about 5 years now. And how I got into it was from my own personal journey. I never thought, oh yeah, like I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to, do all this. I got to a point in my life where I was raising my sister's 3 children, doing it alone. And I had this like crazy mind of I had to, push myself and work out like all the time. And I had to juice and I had to do all these things that I thought like would keep me healthy and keep me going. And in that, being a single parent, trying to keep up this crazy schedule, working full time, and so on and so on, I got to a point where I couldn't be where I was anymore. Like I just couldn't. Like I couldn't. A piece of me felt like it was dying inside, and so my journey kind of began like my whole life, where I was always, interested in new things and spirituality, and so that was always a passion of mine. And so I was listening to a podcast one day, and on that podcast, I heard my teacher. And so she was talking, and it was more about parenting and stuff like that on the podcast. But all of a sudden, I just started crying. And I was like, I remember looking at myself in my bedroom mirror going like, why am I crying? Like, I don't understand. It really wasn't what she was saying. But it grounded me into the realization that whatever she had, I needed. And I didn't know what it was. And I knew that where I was in my life, that place, I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't be who I was. I just couldn't. I was done. And so, yeah, that's where my journey began. I reached out and I got a hold of her, and what she was offering was soul therapy. Going into that, I had no idea what it meant. I just was like, I just need this. I knew it with my whole body. So I listened to my intuition and I dived into soul therapy school. Then I went into the second year of soul therapy school. And then I went into, just even more schooling after that. And so years later, here I am doing something I absolutely love. It's a passion of mine because it supported me. Like I've been there. I've been to the place where like, I'm just done. I can't do it. I drove my own self crazy with things that I didn't even comprehend. So that was my journey.
Thank you for sharing your journey and thank you for being on the podcast. So tell us. I'm glad that you found this and it helped you to go get through everything that you went through. So tell us more about soul healing. Like how does it work in terms from what you've learned?
Sure. So soul therapy, right? So, I just dropped one of my microphones. There we go. So for me, it's all about that inner work, right? It's really about like learning ourselves, who we are authentically, beyond the conditions and patterns and filters we may be living from. And when I talk about these are things that we've learned, right? So as a child, as we're growing up, we observe people and how they teach us how to show up and how they teach us even how to feel about ourselves, right? And how, we want to show, or how we feel, we think we should show up in the world, okay? And so we can take on all of these beliefs and all of these things that aren't authentic to who we are. And that keeps us in like the anxiety and the stress and everything that life can bring us, because we're not living in an alignment with who we are. We're living in things that we were taught or shown. So an example of that for me, growing up as a child, I was kind of shown to push my emotions down, like don't show them, just don't, you're too emotional, I was told all the time. And so I learned to disassociate with my emotions. They were bad, push them away, and I lived from that for a long time. But when I learned to reconnect with my emotions, right? Emotions are so powerful. We need our emotions, because if we don't connect and have our emotions, how do we know what's authentic to us? Be it good, bad, ugly, whatever it is. But that's the power place. So when we disconnect from that, and it's very, very normal that people do disconnect from emotions and a lot of places within them, and this is on an unconscious level, right? Then life becomes so full of chaos and turmoil and unfulfilling, because you don't really know really who you are, and you're trying to live this life from all these expectations that you were learned and taught by other people that aren't ones that really are soulful for you.
That makes sense, because not surprisingly, I mean, it makes sense that I'm hearing it in a lot of these guests coming on, and they mention connect a lot, and it happens to be on my website. The logo with the slogan is balance, restore, connect, and kind of all everything's connected. So for what are the steps that are needed to tap into the connection part with the emotions and the body and the mind and the spirit and everything from the soul healing perspective?
There are infinite amount of different kinds of steps. So it's really, we all have intuition, right? And we all will see things and be like, oh yeah, like a class or something, or a teacher, whatever it be. And they'll be like, you have a pull towards it. It excites you, or you're like interested in it. That's where you need to start, right? Like, it's kind of like, there are so many different things that we could do, so many different ways that we can do, but it really needs to start within you, right? What feels right for you? What kind of things are you pulled to? Observation of oneself is really, really key. So, and that's something we don't really do. And that is something you have to do being in a present moment. Have a clear your mind of your thoughts, and just observe sometimes of even, right? Say you get triggered and you show up and you are flustered or angered or whatever. If you can, in the awareness of being in that emotion, step back and observe yourself and learn, okay, what triggered me? Why am I showing up that way? Like, what's the root of that? Then you can kind of work with learn like what things kind of trigger you. So what things are authentic to have in your world and not, right? What's in alignment with you. And sometimes some things we can completely get rid of out of our life, and other things we can't. So it's just working with that. Okay, exactly. What is that? How is that authentic to you to keep within you? And so when I speak of like the authenticity, that's so unique to each person, right? So what I like and what you like will be completely different. So I love working with people to ground them into like, what's authentic to you? What feels right? What works for you? And so when I work with people, it's all about discovery questions, asking questions to allow you to go into you, because especially in today's society, there's so much things outside of us, right? Like, we're bombarded by advertisements and like billboards and everything all the time, which help keep us outside. Even that self-care piece, right? When people talk about like self-care, they talk, the main thing is like manicures, pedicures, massages, stuff like that, which is awesome. Yet it may not soulfully fill you on the deep level that you need, right? And so what that self-care piece, like, that's so deep. And with that, it's that self-love. I would say a huge amount of women and men that I have got to connect with have not even realized to how much their inner mind, their inner bully, beats them up on a daily basis. Because as that child, they learned to, that they weren't good enough in certain areas, or they weren't, they weren't enough just who they were, right? And so as a child, we learn these things. As an adult, we unconsciously can live from them and still show up at that and belittle ourselves and keep ourselves small and lock ourselves in and all of that stuff. So there's so much into this. And so observing yourself is really important, but also opening the door to loving who you are. Like, all of you. Who cares, right? All of us have a good, bad, ugly, beautiful side within us. We all have it. It's not going to go away, and we can't really, so there's a light side and a shadow side. And I like to work with people to awaken them to both sides and honoring both sides of them. because that shadow side within us is also there to teach us. And it's so common to try to like shut it out and just push it away and not have a part of it. But then you're disowning and devaluing a beautiful place within you, and a place within you that you can work with, so then your life can be more in alignment to who you want to be and how you want to show up in this world.
That's beautiful. It's like everything, working together. I love the fact that you mentioned the questions. It's because it doesn't matter what you tell people what to do. If they don't realize it themselves, if they're not conscious of their behavior and their thinking, then they're not going to get it, and they're not going to take actions to heal themselves or transform themselves or improve themselves, right?
Yes, yeah. See, and that's what I always say the difference between like soul therapy and counseling is that in like counseling, it's kind of like you're talking and you're being kind of more so, in my experiences, told, right? The counselor is coming and telling you, oh, you should do this, or you should, kind of like that, allowing you to speak, but telling you kind of what to do. Where in soul therapy, I hold such a sacred space for you to speak so you can feel heard. And then I guide you into questions to allow you to awaken, to come to like, oh yeah, wow, that's still real for me. Or, oh yeah, I think that. Or, oh wow, do I ever like talk down to myself? Or, all of those places that are so unconscious, because that's all we know. That's all we learned growing up.
That's awesome. And you said you mentioned about the programs that you told me some about the programs. Can you elaborate on the programs and explain a little bit on here?
So like the programs as in I have one-on-one programs, do you mean? Or the workshops?
Both.
Okay, sure. Sorry, the water went down the wrong tube. Okay, I think I'm good now. Awesome. I can work one-on-one, like sessions, just one-off sessions, but the programs themselves are just duration. So I have a 6-week, a 3-month, a 6-month, and a 9-month program in them, right? So if I'm working with you, say on the 6-week or even the 9-month, what is the same in that is that we meet weekly, and I can do in person or via online for an hour each every week. And so what the difference is in the programs, it really depends to how much a person wants to grow, right? So if someone just goes, you know what, I have something in my life that I just need to figure out. I just want this one little problem, or like this problem. I want to figure this out. I want to get clear on this. Then a shorter program is amazing. But if someone is like, you know what, like I really just want to work on myself more. I really want to, have more fulfilling relationships, or I want to feel better, like mentally and physically. Because we are all connected, as you said, right? Like mind, body, soul. When we work on our inner world and our mental and our overall wellness, that impacts our whole being. That impacts not only our physical, our emotional, our spiritual, and our soul level. It also impacts us on a physical level. And so that helps with our health and how we show up and everything. So my favorite program I love is a 9-month program, because when women step into that, it's life transformational. You have 9 months with me every week, right? For 9 months, an hour of really learning and stepping into you, learning to love you, learning to connect inward to you, learning to awaken to parts within you that are no longer in alignment with you. And all of the programs themselves, right? The 6-week, 3-month, 6-month, or even the 9-month, the work in it is beautiful. Just again, the difference is just how much do you want to grow, right? What do you really want? And so that's the difference of the programs. And I can work with you in these programs, right? On all different levels, mind, body, and soul, which is beautiful, because then it can serve you in such a deep, deep way. And it's life transforming. So when you become awakened to maybe a belief that you had within you that wasn't serving you, and you can change that, you are no longer ever going to step back into that, because you have a new way of being, a new experience, a new, just a new knowledge, new awareness within you. So it's, I love it. I absolutely love working with women, and I'm so honored to watch them grow and awaken into who they are and learn to love who they are. Because in society, we're kind of shown and taught that it's not okay to be not okay. But I'm sorry, we all have moments. And at times in our life, we're all going to not be okay. So if you can learn to love who you are when you're not okay, that's powerful. Because when life throws us all of these challenges, and it always is going to, if we can learn to love and support ourselves, versus the norm is to usually go in and your inner bully comes up stronger, right? Like when you say you're facing a challenge, something shown up in your life and you're stressed over it, your mind goes to what you did wrong, what you could have done better, what you should have done, all of that other stuff that just keeps you in the emotional like vortex, dragging you down, making you feel like crap. When if you could actually learn to support you, right, a lot deeper. And sometimes it's as simple as just putting your hand on your heart to connect in with your heart space and say, like, affirm to yourself, you know what, right now in this moment, I'm just going to love me. No matter how I'm feeling, no matter what I'm going through, I'm just going to love me. And so I find that really powerful when we can learn that and really learn what it means to support yourself, or what it means to really love yourself. So when life does give you, these challenges to go through, you can go through them better, more yourself, not, full of anxiety and everything else that shows up for you. And then I just wanted to share this, right? So I really believe that life itself here on Mother Earth is our playground and our teacher and our classroom, right? We have experiences that come into our life for a reason. I believe they are uniquely designed for us to push us. Uncomfortable, yes. But if they are not uncomfortable, we won't change. We don't want to, right? And so it's really amazing to be able to have support, to get a perspective to take you out of the emotional state of just being in the crap, right, for as long as it can, because sometimes it can affect people, sometimes for weeks or months, right? And that's hard if you're in that for that long. But to be able to see, so when you're in the experience, the challenge, to be able to, yes, acknowledge that it's uncomfortable and it sucks and it's not awesome, but to be able to support yourself through it and to be able to gain the lessons that are there. So hopefully that is not a reoccurring experience for you. Because when we do have reoccurring experiences or patterns, certain patterns show up in our life, that teaches you that there's a lesson there and you're not quite getting it, so it's going to show up until you do.
Mm-hmm. I love that, especially putting your hand on your heart and then say those words, because words are powerful.
Yes.
And it may be sometimes, like when you say those things, at the moment you might not believe it because you're going through the challenge, but keep on saying it.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
Right? It doesn't matter if you don't believe it. If you just commit to yourself to say it, to do it, then it's eventually just going to sink in and integrate and be your truth. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And I like the time frames too for the programs or workshops, or when it makes sense because it really depends on if they're ready to, how long they need it for.
And what they're open to go into and work on. Yes. Yeah. And I should also share that, like, in them, right? So the one-on-one sessions are completely tailored to the person that I'm working with. So I never go in thinking, this is what we're going to work on, because your life, like I said, is teaching you what needs to be worked on. So basically I just kind of say, so what's going on this week, or what's showing up? And I just hold space as you talk. And because I'm holding so much space and holding so much love for you, I'm open to the guidance, right? Divine guidance to come in to show me what questions or where we need to go. And it just unfolds as it needs to. And then at the end of the private sessions, the one-on-one sessions, I always give a soul work. And that is given to me in that session to what's going to support you to go even further for that. And then, so what is different between the one-on-one programs and the workshops is the workshops themselves already have questions designed already, right? So they're not just guidance and to take you where you need to go. It's, okay, here's the questions. We're going to go discover these parts within you. So still very, very beautiful and awakening and everything like that. They're just not as personalized.
Okay. Thanks. You answered my next question.
Okay.
All right. So what if, like, let's just say somebody has gone through the 9-month one, and they kind of like got attached to you, and they kind of dependent on you, and after the nine months, and they can just continue, or you just say basically every month there's like touch base with them or something.
It's really what feels authentic to them, right? If they are ready to step in and work even deeper, 100% I will go and work deeper with them. If they want a little less, and they just want to do workshops, that's a discussion that we would have afterwards to where they want to go. The women that have stepped into my 9-month programs, more often than not, are ones that are healers, ones that are stepping out, that are now ready to go, yes, this is what I have to offer, and I love myself enough to do this, and I'm ready. Yes, boom, here it is. Because they've had those 9 months to like transform so many things within them. It's so beautiful. I love it.
I can hear it in your voice. That's awesome. Really great. So do you certify people as well?
Or, no, just work with them. Yeah.
Work with them. Got it. Yeah. So what are some of the challenges that during your the time that you've been working with people, what are some of the challenges that you've been through?
Like me personally, or my clients, do you mean?
It's like you and your clients, like some of the common ones.
What shows up lots is that self-worth, that self-love piece, right? It is so common for us to not really honestly love ourselves, or to even really know what that means. So self-love has been my journey for like my whole life. And I know it's going to be still my journey until the day I die, because I'm continually shown ways on where I can integrate self-love deeper into me, or what it means, or other areas I can work on that. So it's really that piece of, honoring and loving who you are, because we do things. We're human. We do things that we're like, oh my God, why did I do that? Or, right. And we can get, not so happy with that. And it's easy for our inner bully to come up, instead of going, okay, you know what? I did that. That sucked. I'll own it. I'll acknowledge it. I'll learn from it and move on. And, so yeah, that self-love I find is the biggest thing. And there's some women that, I connect with, and I'm very intuitive. And so I can feel where their self-love is. But when I ask them some questions, they'll be like, oh no, like I love myself. But that's because it's just all they know. Do you know what I mean? That it's never been questioned before, or they've never gone into that. They're just like, what do you mean? Right. But really it is. If you just observe, just one morning of when you first get up in the morning and you look in the mirror, what is the first things you say to yourself? Or where are the first places you look? Do you look in the mirror and think, oh, do you think how much you love yourself, or loving thoughts? Or do you go to like, oh, all those heavy negative thoughts? And then when you're looking in that mirror, do you look at the parts of you that you enjoy and love? Or do your eyes go right to those parts, right? Like, that you don't like? And that kind of anchors you into where your self-love is, in a way, right? Because if you wake up and first thing you look into the mirror and you're thinking, oh, my bag's under my eyes, and oh, I just don't like this, and oh, if only I could if my nose could just be like this, or whatever it is for you, you're looking in the mirror right away and telling yourself on a core level that you're not good enough just the way you are.
That's so true. Sometimes people just think about it without even being aware of that.
Yes, because, right, and so this is huge, because they've learned, and it always goes down to when you were a child, how do people make you feel about who you were? And so I know for me, I was bullied lots, right? So I used to really hate myself. I didn't even know what self-love was. And that's another part of why I got to the place of just being done. And so when you can open that door and a lot of the times too, it even has to be that yes, I'm going to give myself permission to just say, yes, I love myself, and to try to start opening this door of self-love and really explore, what is this? Because I know as a child, I was never even shown what self-love was, or that it was even a thing, right? Or self-care. What is that? And so me not knowing any of that, not knowing any tools, anything, just having my inner bully show up all the time, drove me to a place where I could no longer be And I'm so thankful to have gotten there because now I'm here. So
yeah, now thinking about it, I can relate because I've been through similar experiences when I was a child. And so, yeah, this is quite common. So
yes, it's very common, like so common. And that's why I'm very passionate about working with people, because I want to open them up to what's in them, right? And I really say the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. Yes, we have all of those parts within us.
Right. I love it. Let's see. Probably need to cut this part off. Oh yeah. So what you said, you're very intuitive, and you work with people's soul level.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare yourself each day? Like, do you have a morning routine or set of schedules or set of practice that you do?
What a great question. So in an ideal world, I would absolutely love to wake up every morning, have an hour of meditation and, my time to ground in, reflection, so on, so on. But I am a mom, and that is an ideal world. That doesn't always happen. So I like to go in flow. And again, it's that self-love. Some days I can do it and it's awesome and I love it. Other days, you know what? I don't get to it first thing, or maybe some days I don't even get to it. But I'm going to love myself through all of that. Do you know what I mean? So life goes in flow for each one of us. So if we can just sit in that and allow that and, be like, yeah, that's good. Good for me for doing that, right? So so to answer your question, yes, I intend every day to try to do some meditation, inner reflection. And when I can, it's deep breathing. If I'm laying my son down for a nap because he's only 9 months, I'll sit there and I'll just breathe. Right. And so I bring in things into my world when I can, and knowing that they can't always just be at this time, because that's not how life works. And I'm not going to get mad at myself about that when I do that, which that mindset helps support me for the days that it doesn't happen the way I want it to. Right.
Right, because I have one and it can be challenging. Imagine two.
Yes. Well, see, the beauty for my experience personally, is at age 24, I stepped into raising my sister's 3 children all by myself. So I got to be a parent, be in that crazy busy world before I actually became a mom. And so back then it was crazy and uncomfortable. And now I'm so thankful because I have learned and gone through so much that now, yes, 2 can be crazy, but it's like, oh, I've had 3. I'm good.
Right. Yeah. Tips or lessons or that you like to share with everybody?
Yes. Okay. So I want to give everyone a challenge. I want you to try to, for one day, as much as you can, you don't have to do it for the whole day, but to challenge yourself to observe you, right? Observe when you wake up, how are you feeling about yourself? Okay, so to observe your inner world for this day. So that's the challenge. So going along the day, say something happens, how do you show up in that world, or show up when something happens, or if it's good or bad, right? Observe yourself. Learn yourself. That's basically what that is. To bring in awareness to yourself, because by doing that, by opening the door to observe who you are and, the thoughts you have within yourself, that's going to support you to be able to learn where you can then go to support yourself deeper, right? Like some people are really, really hard on themselves when it comes to their weight or their body image, right? Other people, it can be, they need to have control on things, right? It doesn't matter. It just, I need to feel I'm in control. I need to have that, which, okay, that's awesome. And that can support you, but it can also really, really not support you. So I challenge everybody here listening today to just, for a day, to, as often as you can, become in awareness of you and your thoughts, your inner world, right? So what that would look like. So start the day off whenever you hear this or whatever you want, just check in. So as you're listening to this and go, okay, so how am I feeling? What am I feeling? Okay, just connect in, see that. And then as the day goes on, something happens. When something happens, be good, bad, whatever it is, just observe yourself. How are you feeling? Why are you feeling that, right? What kind of thoughts are you having? And then at the end of the day, when you've done that, and sometimes, life can be busy, and so maybe you've only been able to do that 2 or 3 times for the whole day. That's okay. Do what you can. So at the end of the day, then afterwards, kind of write down or journal or reflect on what awarenesses did you have? Like, what things did you see or observe within yourself? Did you do some amazing things that you can now ground in and go, yeah, like I did that, yes. Right? Because we don't even celebrate ourselves often enough. And so, yeah, to do that, I challenge you to do that and to see what shows up with you in that. And it's going to be so different for each and every one of you. So
that is a great exercise, great challenge. And also I was thinking maybe even like write it down, journaling in it. Like
yes.
beginning of the day, how you feel, and then throughout the day, like write down the time that you experience those. Or
if you have the time to do that, yes, but it can't, right? Like if you don't have a notepad or something beside you, it can make it kind of tricky. So yes, 100%. If you have the time and it's right by you and you can do that, that would deeply support you. And if you don't, then just in your mind. So then at the end of the day, you can bring up that reflection and then try to do it then. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then compare, like from a month from now, 6 months, 9 months, like, different time periods, and you can compare and then see your progress.
Yeah, if you wanted to do it daily, you definitely could. Yes.
Or weekly, if you don't have time.
Yeah. However it worked for you, yes.
Right.
Because anytime we bring observation in, be it for a minute, for a day, for however long, you're going to learn something. Now, I also need to share this. With observation, when we are observing yourself, you have to let go of your inner judgment. You have to. Because when you are observing yourself and your inner judgment comes in, that inner bully, that part that just judges you, it takes you out of the observation mode and into the emotions of all of the stuff that it isn't going to serve you.
Mm-hmm. Almost see it from a outside lens, right? Like outside of your body, kind of seeing yourself and then evaluate that point. Okay, great. So tell us about the other workshop you're talking about, the
3-hour Awaken to Your Authentic Self. Okay, yeah. So I have a 3-hour, it's called Awakening to Your Authentic Self workshop, and I can do it online and in person. I've done both. And I actually have one online this Saturday at 12 to 3 EST time. And what it is, I'm going to ground you into 5 questions, okay? And so during this time, you're going to get time to go, and I'll give you 1 question at a time, and then you'll have time to reflect. And if you want to share, you can share. And if you don't feel like sharing, that's fine, right? And these 5 questions are going to ground you into deeper awareness into you, who you are, maybe places you're not showing up authentically, and things that you want to shift or change within you. And so it's really beautiful to have workshops that allow you to be able to go into that space, because sometimes it's hard, to at home or even just to want to go into that place, because it can be uncomfortable. Some of the things we learn or go into. And so it's really beautiful when you go in a circle of women, like-minded women that are there holding space with you, and also there for the same reason you are, right? To learn and to grow and to flourish. And yeah, it's so beautiful. And what you're going to gain from that is going to be like clarity and awareness and so much beautiful things. What I've found is every time I host a workshop, or here in Saskatoon, I host in person a weekly soul circle, same kind of thing, is that the people that show up for it, right? They're always connected. So what I mean by that is if you can't show up for some reason, you're not meant to. Because the women that do come and that do show up, I have had so many women go, yeah, I can relate with you. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, and so it's beautiful because you also get that validation. Oh my God, like I'm not alone. Like this is so amazing to know that I'm not alone, that others feel this as well. And that connection and everything is just, it's beautiful.
That's something I would like to experience. That sounds great. Yeah.
I would love you to have you join in.
Yeah. All right. There's a specific time or whenever you
So what I wanted to do is to gift all your listeners. So usually the workshop is $40, but I want to gift you guys it free. So I have one this Saturday. If that doesn't work, that's okay. I'll be having more coming out. That's fine. So if you are interested, and if you're like, yes, like I want to discover me more, I want to learn this. This is awesome. Everything I'm saying resonates with you. Then on my website, should I give it now or I don't know. Okay. So my website's www.wendyannwalker.com. And are you going to have the link somewhere for them or? Okay.
In the description.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, in the description, there'll be the link. So if you go onto my website, the bottom of the page, it'll say contact Wendy. So scroll to the very bottom, put your name, put your email, and say, yes, I'm interested in the free Authentic to Yourself workshop. Because then I can take your name down and I can email you. And if this one Saturday doesn't work coming up, then I can give you some other dates of ones that will be coming up. And then we'll get you in there. So yeah.
Awesome. So it's going to be a live thing or it's going to be already pre-recorded?
No, it'll be, sorry, thank you for mentioning that. No, it's going to be live and it'll be on Zoom.
On Zoom. Okay. Yeah. All right. And then I guess once people sign up, they'll get the Zoom link and everything.
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
They will.
All right.
So yeah, if they're interested, just let me know, reach out. I would be so honored to join it, for you to join. It's such a beautiful place, where you can just be you. Like just be you, to whatever you say in that sacred space, that circle, that's fine. There's no judgment. We're all human. We're all right. Like, yeah, it's just to be you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And besides your website, what other social media accounts or anywhere else people can find you?
So I have, I guess I don't have too many, but so I'm on Facebook. I have licensed soul therapist Wendy Ann Walker on Facebook. And then I also have, and I think you'll put the link in there, I have the Soul Sisters online group for women. And in that, it's just a group, again, an online version of just like community. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I'll pop on there and do videos. Sometimes if I feel guided, I'll go on and I'll do a card reading. I love angel cards. I don't really do them as a service, but I love playing them with them myself and I love using them. So yeah, it's
awesome. Great. Thank you so much. And if listeners, if anybody's interested, reach out to her and connect with her. This is great.
Thank you. It's been such an honor to be here. So thank you for having me, and thank you, listeners. Thank you for being here. And I just want to, if you feel a pull or a connect towards me, not that you have to, but that's what I felt with my teacher, and then listen to it. Then say yes. Reach out. Whatever that means, however that unfolds, that's fine. But know that everything you need is within you already. So just listen.
I love it. Yes. Listen. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.